Almost all my life they told me that I couldn't. Dreaming every night they told me that I shouldn't. Told me that I should've quit, that I'll never finish it, that I'll never reach the top and no one knows that I exist. But I kept climbing, kept grinding every day, and I kept writing everything I had to say. Now they wanna shut me up, shut me in, shut me out. Yeah, I'd be mad too if someone made me shut my mouth.
What is up, Warrior Nation? This is the Warrior Wealth Solutions podcast. I'm your host, Chris Jackson, and today I have a special guest, Anthony Pagliaro. Anthony is a current professional MMA fighter based out of Utah, and today he's going to be talking a little bit about his strategic methods when it comes to coaching, things you should and shouldn't do, and some of the things that we've both seen when it comes to the life mentors and people that unfortunately get into the career of coaching, mentoring, consulting for the wrong reasons. And just to share a little bit about some theories that we've seen lately. Anthony, welcome to the podcast, brother. Good to have you back.
Yes, it's good to be back.
So, real quick, man, me and you discussed a little bit ago about your career and things that you had been doing. When did you start fighting?
So altogether, I started training about 13 to 14 years ago. I grew up in upstate New York, and living there, everybody knows about how the gangs and the streets and the fighting is all up there. So my biological father put me into Taekwondo and kickboxing, and I started training that. Then I went to the service, started doing jiu-jitsu, and I fell in love with it there. Get out of the service in 2007 and started kind of just, messing around with it. Went to a local gym here in Utah when I was stationed here. And the coach asked me, hey, you want to fight? You want to train? I was like, I really don't want to get punched in the face or kicked or, I don't like that stuff. And he was like, come on, just give it a try. And I was like, all right. And ever since that day, I've fallen in love with it. I just love the whole aspect.
Right. We spoke a little bit ago and before we came live, and me and you discussed some of the things that we've been seeing in the consulting, coaching, and, that aspect. And some of the things that specifically within the bodybuilding world, man, you see a lot of bodybuilders when they get into the career, it's great to succeed. But then when they get to the gym and they try to, be a personal trainer, and they try to pass on down some teachings, it seems to be a little bit, or probably most of it is all about them. When they get a client, it's always about them. So when me and you discussed that, what's some of the things that you are trying to do now? I would assume that when you're in between your fights and whatnot, what other things are you trying to do to be like an entrepreneur or have that mindset of you got to just help other people?
Well, being in the medical field, you always want to help others. You always want to make other people smile, make them laugh, keeps their hopes up.
Right.
With my personal training, I've noticed most people when they get their personal training license or their certification, most of them are bodybuilders, or some of them have been fighters. And when they're training people, they're training them to be like them instead of training them to be what they want to be.
Oh, yeah.
Being a personal trainer, you're there to coach them. You're there to push them, to motivate them to be what they want to be, not what you want them to be. It's what they want to be.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of personal trainers are going out of their realm and out of their aspect.
Right. When you're teaching, you just said it, that theory that you have that a lot of people are getting out of the realm of it's more for the client or the consumer or their customer. What are you doing to carry that mindset over for your guys? Or, first off, let me ask you, what kind of people do you train? Are they kids? Are they adults? Is it all, both kids and adults, or what?
So we start training from the age of 8 years old all the way up until adults. I'm actually part of the Parkinson's program at Cache Valley Boxing, where we have clients that come in that have Parkinson's.
Right.
And we train them how to box, how to vocalize. We do the personal training with them. We give them stretches, lift somewhat of weights if they can. But
Right.
we're there to motivate them. We're there to push them to the limits, but also to just to keep them going. Keep them happy in life.
Right. Right. When you do these sessions, about how long are the sessions per day?
So classes go for about an hour. When I do a personal session, I usually go between an hour to an hour and 30 minutes. It just depends on the person. It depends on how we're clicking or
Right.
what they want to accomplish that day. A lot of people say personal training, well, you should only do it for 30 minutes or you should only do it for 45 minutes. No, you're there for the client. You're not there for yourself.
Right. Right.
Yes, you want to make money, but at the same time.
So, do you have any certain routine that you go down that's set in stone or broken down for these people, or is it all about the person, whatever they need? Because you just mentioned whatever they need. So how do you develop that foundation into the training, and what's the steps in the process?
So when I first meet with my personal training client, the first session is always free. I get to know them inside and out. I get to know their personality, their health issues,
Right.
Their nutrition, what they do, their routine, day-to-day life. Then I start asking them, what you want to accomplish. I always say bring at least 5 goals with you. And those are fitness goals, like toned legs or toned body, toned stomach, toned arms. I always ask them what they want.
Right.
I don't go in there like most personal trainers, hey, we're going to do this today, or hey, we're going to do this today, and that's because it's going to help this. No. You want to ask them what they want. And you want to work on what they want to work on. You don't want to push them over. If they want a stomach, you're not going to go work their arms and their legs.
Right.
If they want arms, you're not going to go work their stomach and their legs. You always got to find out what your client wants. And you're there for them. You're not there for yourself.
Do you see any kind of trend or pattern when it comes to trainings or what people are needing? Like, say, whether it's Christmas time or summertime, do you see a certain, individual come in, whether it's the children or the adults, the females, the males? I would presume, or I would assume that females are always looking for more self-defense classes than the males. Or
Yes.
am I wrong? Okay, so they are.
Yeah.
Do you ever see any kind of certain patterns or trends?
With females, their pattern is they show up for 2 months or 3 months, they disappear, and then they come back.
So to the females, or just don't quit, like just keep.
Yeah. With the males, they continuously come, but it's like they'll come for one class for a week, and then all of a sudden they'll come for all the classes for a week, and then maybe 2 classes a week. They're sporadic, but they continuously come. Whereas females, they'll solidly come for 3 months straight or 4 months straight, and then just they're gone.
Right. Okay. So what are you guys, me and you spoke earlier, what is the company that you're working for right now, or is it you doing this on your own, or tell us a little bit about that?
So the company that I'm working for is called Cache Valley Boxing. We actually started out of my coach's garage. He's been doing it for, wow. He's been coaching and probably for about a good 20 years.
Really? Wow.
He has over 50 fights in boxing.
Nice.
And now we actually have a gym in a location. So we've had bigger groups. We've had more people. So it's a not nicer environment.
What made you want to start up your own gym? Or you two had like chatted for a while and decided to just do this, or what?
We have done it for a long time. We've thought about it. He was kind of pushing it more than I was. I was still in the fighting aspect. I still want to fight. I still want to train. But he noticed when I do train, or when I am there training, that I tend to help others more than I'm actually training.
Right.
And that's when he brought up, hey, would you like to be a coach? And I said, well, is that going to take away from my fight license? Am I going to have to get a whole different license?
Right.
They go, well, eventually. And I'm like, yeah, I'll keep away from that. But I've kind of fallen in love with it. I'm getting old, and you can only fight till you're so old.
Right.
So,
So with this being said, what would you recommend to other business owners, coaches, mentors, anybody that's wanting to take their gym to the next level?
First of all, I would make sure you're doing it for the right reasons.
Uh,
You're not doing it just to get your name out there. You're not doing it to get the publicity. You're not there to get your, high and mighty, big old head, as they would say.
right.
You got to do it because you want to help people. You love what you're doing. It's something that you want to get up and do every day. It's a career. It's not a job.
Right.
If you look at it as a job, you're not doing it for the right reason.
Yeah. When me and you, we'd done a podcast, or we were doing podcasts probably last year sometime, and we've been kind of out of it for our own personal reasons. But the one thing that I've learned in business, and me and you spoke about this numerous times, we've had some podcasts developed or created because of that topic, and it's providing solutions for people. We get into a business expecting sales and expecting some kind of monetary value to come our way right away. And that's not always the case. And matter of fact, it's never the case. When we expect sales, it's going to bite us in the ass, because just because you have a business doesn't mean anything. You got to know how to influence people and provide a solution to people's problems. Just because you have a product, doesn't mean anything. I had a website a couple years ago, my very first one, and I built it, and I didn't have a sale for 6 months. And I was like, what the hell's going on? But the problem is I didn't know business. So with this podcast, we're helping, Vetrepreneurs, that's the big title right now, veterans who are becoming entrepreneurs, unleash. And so with that being said, what you're doing for the coaching world, man, getting out of the career, taking your skill set onto a bigger and better solution for people who need that. I mean, we see it today's society. Unfortunately, there are dangers out there, and people need to be a little bit more savvy when it comes to their self-defense. So with that being said, we've discussed coaches, helping people start their business and their gyms. And you just said, do it for the right reasons. For people that's looking to get in MMA, our listeners are going to want to know that. I see a lot of people, when MMA first, let's not say that, not when it first came about. I would say probably about 5 to 6 years ago, everybody was wanting to do MMA. If you could look back and tell those people, or give advice on people that's wanting to jump in to the sport, what would you give? What kind of advice would you give?
Ooh, that's a good question. First of all, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, hey, do I want this face messed up?
Right.
Or
the
hey,
ears. Do I want my ears messed up?
Yeah. Hey, do I actually want to put forth the effort? Because being in the sport that I'm in, it's not a kickback, train when you want to, or, oh, I'm going to work out for 20 minutes today and that's going to be it. No, we have to put in the work. We're athletes. We do, it's so funny because you see posts all over the place where you'll see a soccer player limping off the field, being carried by 2 people. And then you'll see a picture of, us bloody and battered and everything. It's like, good fight, bro. Let's go get a beer.
Right.
We do it because we love it, and we do it because it's a stress reliever. It takes a lot of work. I mean, I train when I have a fight. I go for at least 3 hours a day at the gym, especially when I have a fight coming up.
Right.
So it's not a kickback sport or kickback thing to get into.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I tell you what, it's been good having you on the podcast again, brother.
Yeah, it's nice.
So, thanks for being here with us. And if there's anything else you want to give to the audience or our listeners.
Yeah, actually, if you get into, your own entrepreneurship and you want to start a business, don't give up. I mean, it took us a good, say, over 10 years to get where we're at. Right. And, in this we only opened in July. and you know, we're struggling. I mean, we have classes, we have people, but it's a struggle, and don't give up on it. You know, you got to constantly work for it and just keep your head up.
Oh yeah, great advice, man. All right, Anthony, I appreciate all that you're doing, and hopefully you'll join me on the next podcast.
Oh, most definitely.
All right, brother, you take care.
You too.
All right, this is the Warrior Wealth Solutions podcast, and again, this is helping warriors unleash. Visit us at warriorwealthsolutions.com.